Okay, what we got going on here is a quick walk around, just showing you the barrier hemp farm from the outside. It's a very simple design. It's basically a 3x5 main planter box area, one strip of triangles, and then 4 squares on the side that create basically a work area. It allows you to put, I've got mixing tables in there. I've got some pumps in there, or not pumps, but actual water purifiers, and you can put some fridges in there or boxes. The back end there is where the TC is located on this one. You can put it wherever you want. It's the TC. It's honeycombed. I've got garage doors set up for separation. To the right again is the work area. To the left is the planter box area. As you can see here, I've got 2 water purifiers, one for each water pump that I've got working. And I've got 1 pump, 1 water purifier for 2 sprinklers. Can you do 1 and 1 on 4 sprinklers? Yes, you can. But I do this purposely just to make sure that all the planter boxes are getting water. I do not have sprinklers on top. As we walk in, you will see the sprinklers are actually mounted outside the planter boxes, and this allows me to cover a larger area with less sprinklers. It's just kind of a water trick. But here you go. There's 16 planter boxes in here. You can easily add 4 more down the center to make it a 20 planter box farm. There are 8 lamps, 1 covering 2 planter boxes each, and 4 sprinklers. As you see, the sprinklers are mounted on the outside, but as you see, all the planter boxes are getting sufficient water, nice and pretty evenly. With this little setup, the sprinklers do, regardless of what you make the base out of, whether it's stone, metal, or whatnot. The door frames that those are put on need to be metal, and they do need to be put on door frames. The door frames hold them off a little bit away from the floors, so that the water actually does spray around. And if you place it directly on the floor, on the side of the floor panel without the door frame, you're gonna have some water problems. So I'd recommend continually keeping that on the door frames. It adds a little stability to it, whatever, but it doesn't cost much. So the upkeep on this basement, it's all sheet metal, runs around 3,200 metal a day. That TC there was showing a little less because I still have some twig on it. This was being done on a Builder's Paradise on console, so everything here works on console. Tried and proven, and so there's no issue there. Will it work on PC? Absolutely. If it works on console, it works on PC. It's just typically if it doesn't always work on PC and then work on console, but backwards it usually is just fine. Here I'm creating 1 floor for 16 to 20 planter boxes. It could easily be jumped up to a second or third floor. So you could have, 20 planter boxes, 16 planter boxes, or 60, depending on how many you really need for your team. 16 to 20 is plenty for, I'd say a team of, up to a quad. If you're looking to be a tea, seller, 20 should be, pretty sufficient. But going to a second level will definitely increase your output. To be a tea farmer or a tea seller, tea vendy, whatever you want to play it. And so again, we're going to look at the upkeep here. I think it shows, or we're not, but I think it showed 2,700 in here, but it runs right around 3,200 once absolutely everything is sheet metal. You can place your TC wherever you want. You can do changes. You can obviously alter this however you want. This is just the layout I'd like to, place down and use. So, and then I build a, jump up so we can get to the roof and, have access to either, turrets up here, putting SAM sites up here, if need be, rewiring the windmill if some changes are made. I do use one large battery, one windmill, 5 E branches, and a splitter. The reason why I use the splitter is many times I end up adding some sort of power source like solar panels, and so I always like the ability to add power to the battery, and then so you don't have to rewire the a windmill. You just have an open slot in the splitter. The E branches, really you just need 4 of them. I put a 5th one there just to have extra output in the end. This uses 36 power total, so the one windmill would be more than sufficient for 2 floors. You could branch it down a little bit and put 4 solar panels into a medium battery, and you would be perfectly fine. If you didn't have a windmill or didn't want to use a windmill. So 2 pumps, 2 water purifiers, 4 sprinklers, 8 lamps, 1 battery, 5 branches, 1 splitter, and a power source. And that is pretty much all that this berry farm needs for 16 to 24 planters. How many you want is up to you, but I typically run the 16 and 8 and 8, and so from there you should be good to go. For whatever tea or hemp needs you have. If you have any questions about the layout here that I've got or whatnot, go ahead and post them in the comments. I'll come through and respond. I will post a follow-up video to this showing the actual building of it, and we will go from there. Again, any questions, post them in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and I'd appreciate it, and we will see you next time.